An 18-year-old girl finishes her shift at a tiny coffee stand in Alaska. Minutes later, she's gone, without screaming, without resisting, and without leaving behind a single clue. 4 weeks, no one knows if she's alive or dead. Until a photo appears, proving she was never meant to survive. Welcome to Lost. Subscribe to the channel with notifications turned on so you don't miss any of our weekly uploads. Alright? On the morning of February 2nd, 2012, a young man pulled off a 4-lane highway in Anchorage, Alaska, and into a snow-covered parking lot. He drove past dozens of parked cars until he stopped in front of a small, bleakly teal-colored shack. It was a popular drive-up coffee stand called Common Grounds, and this man worked there as a barista. He parked, stepped out into the cold, and walked up to the white employee entrance. As he reached into his pocket for his keys and turned the lock, something immediately felt wrong. The door was already unlocked. The night before, the closing shift had been handled by 18-year-old Samantha. She had only worked there for about a month, but she was reliable, detail-oriented, and had never forgotten to lock up before. Still, people make mistakes. The barista shrugged it off and stepped inside. That's when he noticed something else. The place looked abandoned mid-shift. Napkins littered the floor. Towels were left out. Cups were still sitting on the counter, as if Samantha had suddenly walked away without cleaning anything. As he crossed the kiosk toward the register, annoyance turned into confusion, then fear. He unlocked the cash register, only to realize it was already unlocked too. When he pulled out the tray, it was completely empty. That's when he knew. The coffee stand had been robbed. He immediately called his boss. The night before, Samantha had asked her boyfriend Dwayne to pick her up after work. Her shift ended at 8 p.m., but Dwayne arrived around 8:30, running late after getting held up at his job. As he pulled into the lot, he knew something wasn't right. The kiosk was dark. Samantha was nowhere in sight. Dwayne stepped out into the freezing air and walked up to the service window, pressing his face against the glass to peer inside. No one. His mind immediately went back to the argument they'd had earlier that night. Over text, Samantha had accused him of cheating. Dwayne brushed it off, and the exchange quickly spiraled into a nasty fight. So as he walked back to his truck, Dwayne convinced himself this was about that fight. Maybe she didn't want to see him. Maybe she got a ride home. He sent her a text asking if she was okay. No response. Despite everything, Dwayne was worried. So he drove straight to Samantha's house. When he knocked, the door was answered by her father, James. Samantha wasn't there. James hadn't heard from her either. The two men sat in the kitchen, calling and texting Samantha repeatedly. Then, finally, Dwayne's phone boost, a text from Samantha. The message was cold and distant. She said she needed space, that she'd be staying with friends for a few days, and asked Dwayne to let her father know she was safe. James immediately felt something was wrong. Samantha had been raised by him since she was 2 years old. They were incredibly close. She would never disappear without speaking to him directly, and she would never ignore his calls. They stayed up all night trying to reach her. She never responded again. The next morning, James went to the Anchorage Police Department and filed a missing persons report. When police contacted the owner of Common Grounds, they learned about the robbery discovered that morning. The owner promised to send over the security footage. While waiting, officers interviewed friends and family, but no one had heard from Samantha. No one knew where she was. At the kiosk, police found no signs of a struggle. The panic button beneath the counter had never been pressed. Despite James's concerns, investigators initially believed Samantha may have staged the robbery and left voluntarily. But one major problem remained. Samantha didn't have a car. And in Anchorage, in February, you don't just walk away into the night. Later that day, the security footage arrived. There was no audio. At 8 p.m. on February 1st, Samantha is seen inside the kiosk, working alone. She's cheerful, focused. Everything looks normal. Then someone approaches the window, just outside the camera's view, and orders a drink. Samantha turns to prepare it. When she turns back, she suddenly recoils. Her hands shoot into the air. Seconds later, she shuts off the lights inside the kiosk, kneels with her back to the window, and stays perfectly still. After a minute, she slowly stands, opens the register, removes cash, and hands it to a shadowy figure outside. Then she kneels again. 2 minutes pass. Suddenly, a man leans his entire upper body through the window. In the grainy darkness, he appears to tie Samantha's hands. Then he climbs fully inside. He puts a gun to her back and moshes her out the employee door, across the snowy lot, and into a white pickup truck. They drive away. Days passed, then weeks. The FBI joined the investigation. Still, nothing. No leads, no sightings. No word from Samantha. Then on February 24th, Dwayne received a text from Samantha's phone. It directed him to a specific sign in a nearby public park. Dwayne and James immediately contacted police, but couldn't wait. They raced there themselves. Tacked to a bulletin board was a Ziploc bag. Inside, a typed ransom note and a black and white photo. Samantha sat in the image, dazed, staring past the camera. Beside her, a man held up an Anchorage Daily News, dated February 13th, 2012. Proof of life. James was told to deposit $30,000 into Samantha's bank account. Under FBI guidance, he deposited part of the money, and they waited. Withdrawals began appearing. Anchorage, then Arizona, New Mexico, Texas. Always too late, until finally, in Texas, a surveillance camera captured something new, a white Ford Focus. On March 13th, a Texas state trooper spotted the car in a hotel parking lot. The driver, 34-year-old Israel Keys. Inside the trunk, a ski mask, a gun, Samantha's debit card, and her phone. Keys denied everything, until the evidence buried him. After demanding an Americano, a peanut butter Snickers, and a cigar, he confessed. What he described was so horrifying that the FBI has never released the full transcript. Samantha had never been meant to survive. The ransom was a lie. Hope was a tool. She was dead the moment she left the kiosk. Israel Keys was a serial killer, one who hunted strangers, planted kill kits across the country, and murdered without pattern or mercy. He took his own life in jail in December 2012, leaving countless victims unnamed. Samantha Koenig was only one. That's going to do it for today's story. If you found the secret hidden in this video, let us know what it was and where you spotted it. If you enjoyed the video, please press the like button, subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our upload. Thank you for supporting Lost, and until next time.